Hello everybody, welcome to another tutorial. So today I will be showing you how to add a ridiculously realistic amount of traffic in Euro Truck Simulator 2. This also works for American Truck Simulator 2. So you can just follow the same steps except when it comes to your folder structure. You should then just switch whenever I say Euro Truck Simulator, use the American Truck Simulator folders. So if you go into your documents, okay, let me just start from here. Right, if we move on into our documents, you'll find either a folder that says American Truck Simulator, or you'll find the Euro Truck Simulator 2 folder. So for this example, I'll use the Euro Truck Simulator 2 folder. When you open that folder, you'll come across this file right here. It says config.cfg, short for config. It's a config file. Okay, if you open that file, let me just enlarge it here. This file is the file that the game uses to save certain settings. So each time you save a setting in game, some of these settings are saved here. Now why I say some of them is that there are some settings that you can find in here. This is a very useful file. There are some settings that you can find in here that you definitely will not find in game, but they will improve the game. For example, you've got tuning of the sun shafts that you have in game. You can change the color saturation from here. You can change the amount of depth of field. Remember, in the game you can only change depth of field from low, high, medium. You don't really have control over when that transition happens, how the game looks, how the game feels. You can change certain things from here, right? You can change the shadow texture size. For example, mine is half here, but you can actually scale it up to 4096, which is a 1080p resolution for your shadows, whichever you prefer. You can downscale it in case you're running the game on a lower system. So using this file, I think the easiest thing you can do is to hit Control plus F on your keyboard. That's Control plus F, and it should bring out this menu. From here, just type in traffic like this. You should also make sure that direction here is written down, and then find next. Right, first option, auto traffic headlights. This is not the option that we're looking for, but this is when you can also choose. This option helps you to choose whether you would like AI traffic, that's the traffic in game, to turn on its headlights, or to follow when you turn on your headlights. That's when they will also decide to turn on their headlights. You can also play with that if you prefer, because sometimes in game it can be around 8 a.m. in the morning, but you can see the AI traffic with its lights on, and that really kills the realism. So you can play along with that. So anyways, to have realistic traffic in game, I look at these three options that say you set G LOD factor, G set LOD factor, and then G traffic. For those of you that use the console, I'm pretty sure you are very familiar with the last one, the one that says G traffic. So from the onset, the one that says G traffic usually says G traffic 1. That is the base game's traffic. So the more you add to this number, you can go from 1 all the way up to 10. But then when you get to 10, the game will be unable to handle all that traffic. There's too much traffic in game. So it's very unrealistic, because you may be stuck in traffic jams for up to 18 game hours, stuck at the same traffic light, just because there's too much traffic for the game to handle. So I think maybe the maximum that you can bump it up to is around 8, but still then the game just has too much traffic. So what I usually do, let me explain these options to you and why I use them. Okay, we can just close that. First one is G traffic. I usually keep my G traffic at around 4. This is more a 30% increase in the amount of traffic. Why I keep it at 4 is because 4 is a very realistic number. You don't get any ghost towns in game, and at the same time you don't get too much traffic. You can use 4, 4, 5, 6 are fairly the same, but 4 is just a safe number. I like 4 because first of all, if you add too much traffic in game, the game starts to lag because it has to process all the sound for all those vehicles, etc, etc. So my settings are G traffic 4, G LOD factor traffic 5, G LOD factor parked 4. Now the first option here, G LOD factor parked, it is the option that controls how many vehicles in game that will be spawned but are just parked. These are the vehicles that don't drive around. These are the vehicles you find, let's say if you're driving around in a small city, the parked vehicles that you find there, or in any city for that matter, anywhere where there's parking, this option fills the parking spaces. So you can actually bump this up all the way up to its 10, and it just affects how much traffic you get parked. So if let's say you drive in a city that has small streets and you want to get rid of the traffic, then you can just remove this all the way to 0 and no cars will be spawned parked. Only cars on the road will be spawned. But I don't think that's really a great option, because how can you have cars in a city that are not parked? And then G LOD factor traffic. This number also considers how much of the traffic is changed around. So it usually starts at 1 or 2.5 depending on the game version, right? And this influences how the game chooses vehicles. So for example, if you have it at 1, you'll find that you will basically have close to the same type of vehicles roaming around in cities. They only do differ when you go to different cities, but in the same city the cars seem to always be the same. Sorry, let me just pause. I have to go do something real quick.